Hello, everyone. My name is Kende, and as you can see, I am here for another session for Life Without Borders. And the name of the session is How to Ace Your Dissertation or Thesis. Basically, talking about research and literature review. So, the first question is, what is literature review? Literature review is reviewing of past research or write up on a specific topic that will give you hindsight or knowledge of what your research area is all about or what the current discussion, argument, analysis, and conclusions are in your area of research. For instance, if you are researching on maternal mortality, which is the rate of death for mothers in the process of giving birth, you may need to do research on what the past researchers have done, what their results are. If you're doing your research in maybe a place like Nigeria, for instance, you need to research what the maybe PhD students or researchers have done in the past, the kind of interventions that have been carried out, whether they're successful or not, the rate at which maybe the maternal mortality or maternal morbidity, which is health problem during childbirth, has increased or decreased over the years, what the statistics are. And you also need to research the kind of theories that are linked to such area of research. And this is because literature review is in diverse measures. Literature review, I would say, is basically reading about your around your area of research because where I come from in Nigeria, I can't really say this is a specific way they do literature review, but when I did my undergraduate dissertation, which we call research project, my research was on the portrayal of women in magazine advertisement. I did this many years ago, over a decade ago, but from my third year in the university, I knew what I wanted to research on. So I had already started gathering literature on it because I was passionate about the portrayal of women. I was passionate about gender issues. I was passionate about human rights, and I used a structure that had been used over the years and have proven to be very good, which was Erving Goffman methodology, and then I researched his own methodology. Many other researchers have actually extended and improved on his methodology, which he used. So I used the latest one. It was like layers and layers of different researches and feedback on the methodology. And that was like a very strong methodology at that point in time, based on my own level of research. And I decided to use it. While doing my research, I discovered that there was also another methodology which was in line with what Erving Goffman has done. It was implemented by Bekalu and Bekalu. I think they're husband and wife. So it's the same surname. So what I did was, because there were a little bit of disadvantages in Evan Goffman's structure and methodology, and Bekalu also had his own disadvantages, I combined the two and leveraged on the strength of the two methodologies. So the only reason I was able to discover the weaknesses of these methodologies and the structure was because I did in-depth literature research, which was basically reading around all the factors that are involved, all the people that have done their researches on it, the result they got, and how I would like to. And so because of that, I was able to analyze how I would like to apply this method to my own research. And that was what my literature review was all about. And under the same literature review, there's something called theoretical framework. Different people have different ways of writing their research. Some can be critical analysis, some can be creative writing style. So I would like to talk about the critical analysis style. And I'll still go back to my undergrad my bachelor's degree. I still remember it because it was a topic I was passionate about. So under theoretical research, I had to check a lot. One was social constructivism, because basically gender bias could be a construction, it could be people's ideology, and it may not have been existing. So I had to question whether it was existing or not. I had to do a few other theoretical research to be sure of the kind of theory that will align with my research topic and the kind of result I was planning to get at the end of the day. And all this time, literature review, I would say, can take a long time. So if you're going to start your dissertation, I don't know when, it depends. If you're just starting now, I will advise you start reading around what you want to research on. And even literature review will span the whole research. Even by the time you are doing your field work, if you are doing field work, by the time you're doing field work, by the time you're doing field work, you still need to use literature to verify whether your methodology or what you're finding is relevant, and how to also argue for or argue against your current result. So that will also determine whether you need to pivot your methodology or to add another methodology to it to make it more robust, which is what we call triangulation in research. Combining different methods. You could call it mixed method research, but the process of combining different methodology to make it more um, in-depth and a richer research is what we call triangulation. So for those that are online, if you have any question about this literature review, you can type in on the live chat so that I can answer your question while I'm live. And that is for my undergrad research. And most of the time, the literature review takes a almost half of what you are meant to write, because it's basically telling the people that you have done extensive research and you know what you're talking about, and you are trying to use the literature review to justify why you're using the theory you're using, why you're using the methodology you're using, and why this is the kind of research results you've discovered, and how you would like to go further. It's all part of literature review. For my master's degree, I did more of a creative work. So the style of writing was different from the style I used for my undergrad. So for my master's degree, I did film. As I said earlier in the day, I did film, television, and creative practice. And that had to do with making film. It sounds interesting and fun to make film, but then every aspect of the film, I needed to justify why I made the film the way I made it, using theories, using past research, using reflexivity, which is more like reflective writing. So at every time you're writing a sentence or you're writing a few sentences, you need to justify why you have chosen this kind of style and why you agree with this person or why you did not agree with a certain person. So for creative writing, it could be a different thing entirely. It could be you trying to create your own style or trying to show people that you have your own independent way of thinking. And so that is basically what I'm going to say about literature review. So for a creative writer, I did film. What I wrote was I did a literature review, which was not even part of the final dissertation. So I did my own research. I did introduction, literature review theory. In the process of writing my in the process of writing my theory, I decided to use what they call three-act structure, which is a way of structuring a film such that it will have beginning, middle, and the end. And I used that three-act structure because I wanted my documentary film to be able to pass across its message and to be able to hold the audience's attention to the end. And three-act structure is a kind of spine that most filmmakers know about. And so I used that to analyze the way I eventually made my film. But apart from that, I also used some other structures. The structure for doing interview, I had to justify why I did a three-way camera, lighting, and interview session. I had to justify so even though I did a creative dissertation, I had to critically analyze every bit of it. So, and that came from me doing literature review, reading wide, and understanding what was required of me and what past researchers had done. So that is all for today's section. If you have more questions, please drop your comment below and we shall be talking more later. Thank you.